if parents, I mean, we see there are children who at 18 are functioning like adults. There are people who transition rather quickly and are functioning like adults. So if childhood is a time of low responsibility, low autonomy, and adulthood is a time of high responsibility, high autonomy, we've created this aberration called adolescence, in which there's high autonomy, low responsibility. That should never be. Autonomy and responsibility are meant to go lockstep with one another. So one of the things we need to do is to insist that our children be increasingly responsible. Now that's what makes that so hard in this culture, is there's so little for them to do. I mean, 150 years ago, if you're on a farm, we had a lot of responsibilities I could give you. I mean, you're 12, it's your job to be up chopping the wood at 6 in the morning. And you will have the wood chopped and ready to go in the fire so that mom can cook breakfast. Oh, we're not eating. It is much different when all mom has to do is go to the refrigerator and you can't drive to go to the grocery store anyway. So, I mean, to me, one of the most difficult things is how do we give our children increasing responsibility? I mean, and things like your room is your responsibility and it will be well maintained are important. You will have chores. I mean, it kind of drives me crazy when a family with a 14-year-old is hiring a garden service. That shouldn't happen. Because we're so hard pressed to find anything, any responsibility that we can give our young up and coming adults, that anything that we can have them do rather than outsource, we need to have them do. Now, even if they're the only one among their friends that is actually cutting the grass and they're not getting paid for it, that's their responsibility as part of this family. So those are some of so responsibility is a big piece. And then the other kind of, that becomes particularly important as they get kind of 9, 10, 11, 12, that they're having more and more responsibility in which the well-being of the whole family is dependent in some measure upon them. Obviously not ultimately upon them, but life in the family for everybody goes better if you are doing your part. And for most 14-year-olds, the well-being of the family, their behavior is irrelevant to the general functioning of the family. And how can you step from being irrelevant in the general functioning of a household to now suddenly stepping into, I'm responsible for a household? I mean, you can't make that jump. So that's kind of what I see as the starting 9 and above. And then there's the starting in infancy and early on, that this family doesn't exist to serve you. That's not why we exist. We are together. Now, we are committed to your well-being, and I, as parent, will serve your well-being. But you are not the center. It's not all about you. You are meant to be a contributor. And we structure our lives around what's good, true, and beautiful, not around what makes you happy in the moment. And I mean, I can't tell you how many families are just run by the happiness, by the pleasure, displeasure of a 4-year-old. That's a disaster to the 4-year-old.